So we're going to look at a quadrant roadway intersection and go through the quality of access review for this unconventional or alternative intersection design. So this was what the intersection looked like previously, and this is NC 73 and US 21, signalized intersection, pretty long queue lengths as we can actually see from this Google Earth image, long delays, lots of congestion issues. Overall, that's usually not good for the businesses surrounding, and you can see there's some businesses that do surround this intersection. It's also just adjacent to an interstate facility towards the west in this image on the left side of the screen. So there was a need to improve it. The quadrant roadway intersection was seen as a good alternative because there was this existing roadway in one of the quadrants. So being able to utilize that quadrant was a good option. So NCDOT recommended this alternative, the NC 73 quadrant left roadway. And really the main impact here are the eastbound and westbound on NC 73. So nobody or vehicle going eastbound on NC 73 can't take this left turn here. That's not allowed. So in order to take the left, what they have to do is go down, turn right, and then another right on US 21 to then go north. And then for NC 73 westbound, there's no left here at the actual intersection. So in order to take the left, they need to turn left before the intersection, and then they could turn left here. So that's really the two movements that are impacted by this quadrant roadway intersection. This is the same intersection now, but in the after period. So now there's 3 signals instead of the 1. Although each of these will be pretty simple signals, it's not the full 8-phase that was there previously at the main intersection. So that's going to be a good benefit, that this intersection is simplified in terms of the signal timing. And so essentially what's going to happen is that all these movements are going to see benefits. All the movements that travel through this main intersection are going to see benefits because they're going to be lower delay, shorter queue length. They're not going to be spilled back over to the interchange ramps. And this was opened on March 7th, 2012. And so let's take a look from a quality of service review. And this is just a high level review looking kind of qualitatively about how you could do this for each business, or at least for each quadrant. I'm only going to do one, so I'm choosing a business in this quadrant. What you would like to do is to replicate this at least once in each quadrant to see how the different areas would be impacted, the different businesses may be impacted by this type of design. So we'll look for starting with a vehicle that is leaving this development and heading where we see the blue arrow. So to get there, a vehicle would leave the parking lot. They'll turn left onto US 21, and this is an allowed movement. So there's going to be no change for that movement in terms of what they're allowed to do. There is a signal now at this first intersection, but the main intersection also has that signal, but it will be more simple. So there's an extra signal to go through, but then overall, both those signals are going to be a little more simple, hopefully have less delay, shorter queue length. So probably not a big impact for this movement. Overall, probably a slightly positive impact. The next one is just if they head north on US 21, so essentially taking that same maneuver, instead of turning left though, they go straight. Similar to with a left turn, probably overall a slight improvement. There is an extra signal to go through, but each of these should be shorter cycle lengths, lower delay, probably lower chance of cycle failure. Now, if they want to go south on US 21, this really has very little impact likely. They do have to go through a signal now, but it is a right turn, so an extra signal to go through, maybe a little bit extra delay because they do have to potentially wait for the signal, although if right turn on red is allowed, probably negligible impact on that right turning movement. And then if they want to turn right on US 21, I'm sorry, on NC 73 from US 21, they actually have a couple of options they could do here. They can turn out of the development, turn left onto US 21 and then turn right onto NC 73, or they could actually go through this signal and then turn right onto NC 73. So a couple of options. Does give them some choices. We've got extra signals to go through in this case because we've got 2 signals that were added here. But again, they're going to be shorter cycle lengths, and overall low delay, probably a minimal impact on that movement as well. Okay, so let's look at now coming from the opposite direction now. Instead of leaving, they're coming into the facility. So if you're coming from here, we're going to turn right into it, and then we'll be at the facility. We do have 2 intersections to go through now, or 2 signals to go through, same intersections, but now there are 2 signalized intersections. So additional signals, but likely, again, lower delay, shorter queue lengths, not a big impact. Right turns, those aren't going to be too impactful. Coming from the north, again, this is probably not much of an impact. We're going to go through the first signal, turn right at the second signal to access the development. Again, shorter delays, shorter queue lengths. An extra signal is added now at the second intersection that they'll go through, but overall, probably a slight improvement in those operations. Now, coming from the north, or headed north from the south, you'll turn left and then into the development. So there is a signal here now, so it may actually make that movement, depending on the exact operations, may make it a little easier and less stressful to find a gap to turn through there. It is signalized now, but potentially slight increase in delay because there is a signal there. But overall, it may be an easier movement to make with having a signal there to help with that turn. And then save the kind of most complex for the last here. So this maneuver is not allowed at the main intersection. So this cannot happen. We can't do that there. So these vehicles are going to need to turn left before the main intersection, then come along this Quadrant Roadway, and then they can go through. Actually, I was in the wrong position here. So here's the through movement here. Go through this intersection to access this facility. So certainly this one has extra complexity. They need to know to turn left before that main intersection. Of course, if they're using GPS, that's probably going to tell them, and they may not even realize there used to be an alternative to this type of maneuver. They are going to go through 2 signals here, but these 2 signals are likely lower in delay than that main intersection was in the before period. So again, this is a review of quality of service for a quadrant roadway intersection as an example. You would like to do this same approach for every quadrant, and it's just a good tool and a good process to consider alternative intersection and arterial designs.